Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I hope you're enjoying this Easter weekend. Ancient fertility holiday hijacked by the Church of Rome into a now Christian tradition involving a whole amalgamation of random cultural artifacts like bunnies and eggs and, chocolate rabbits and stuff like that. But I will be celebrating this joyous occasion of fertility rites by making some Orgonite, the first batch I've made since being down here in LA, and in fact the first batch since I've left Reno. And this is a video that's been a long time coming. I know I've explained Orgonite in person to several of you that are probably watching this, but this is for everybody else and a refresher for whoever needs it. Orgonite sounds like it's a rock that you might find on the ground, but it's actually something that humans make. Orgonite is an amalgamation of organic and metallic components, and I'll explain that in just a second. This is what it can look like. This is one type. This is my own personal puck of destiny. I bring it with me wherever I go, and basically what Orgonite is an energy cleanser. It's basically utilizing the principles that are inherent within the earth to push and pull electromagnetic energy in a given environment and restructure it so that it's not harmful to biological tissue. For example, cell phone in your pocket, right? You even look in the Apple manual and it says like, do not keep this within 4 inches of human skin, like do not hold up to the head. Like it says in the warning manual that basically there's radiation coming off the thing and that it's harmful to you and can cause cancer, but they just kind of gloss over that. But the point is, you keep something like Orgonite on hand, it has the power, it will, if it's a good made piece, it will basically restructure that radiation coming out of that little gadget in your pants and make it so it doesn't fry your fertility, your own fertility rights, whether you be male or female. The point is, and we got women who wear the cell phones in their bras, and I mean, like, it's just causing breast cancer slowly and surely. But, if people keep a piece of Orgonite in their general environment, they have the potential to mitigate that and help protect the cells of the body from that radiation. So, yeah, this is my own personal piece, aka the Puck of Destiny. And it's made with fiberglass resin like you'd get at Home Depot. In fact, that's where I get it, or Lowe's. And basically it's the stuff that you can, use on a boat if it had a hole in it, or, you're redoing the body of a car, and basically you add a catalyst and this liquid turns solid. And while that's casting like that, while it's turning to solid, you add in mainly metallic components and usually a crystal. This is my own personal piece, so it's got a whole bunch of crazy stuff in there, meteorites and rocks that fell from space, and gold and silver and a bunch of cool stuff, high vibration stones right from our Mother Earth. And there's also another example, you'll see a lot of these, the pyramid shape. This is one that we made. This is Space Panther's personal pyramid that we made for her birthday, I think about 3 years ago. And these ones are both pretty ornate. You'll see like there's a lot of decorations in there, like a dragon and some fish and stuff, and make it look pretty. Mainly the things that are acting within Orgonite is the resin itself, which serves as organic, and I'm not talking about like it's alive in the sense of animals are alive, but in the chemical sense of organic, like as in made with carbon and organic elements on the periodic table. On the other hand, we have the metals. Metals and organic, the organic components and the metallic components serve as two opposing spectrum with regard to electromagnetic waves. Okay, so metal reflects electromagnetic radiation, right? So like a satellite dish on your house, is basically reflecting the beam it's getting from the satellite into that focal point on the arm, and that's your signal, right? If the satellite dish was made out of plastic, it would not work, okay? Because the metal is what allows it to reflect the electromagnetic waves. The organic components absorb electromagnetic waves, so the body, like anything that's made primarily with carbon and the organic elements will absorb electromagnetic waves. So what you have within Orgonite is a mixture of these two types of components, and what that does is it creates kind of a pushing and pulling effect. So you've got materials inside of it pulling the ambient electromagnetic energy, and then you've got the metallic components radiating it back out. So it creates this kind of, jumble effect, basically shake it up, and it doesn't, like, say, affect the signal of your cell phone, or like if you put it next to a cell phone tower, it's not going to disable the tower in terms of it performing its function. But what it does is it structures that energy. When that pulling and pushing effect, it basically makes it so that when that energy is re-radiated out of the piece of Orgonite, it's just like what the Earth does with the energy from the sun, right? If you were to go out into space without a spacesuit on, even if you've got darker skin than me, you'd be fried to a freaking crisp immediately, because that radiation is pure and unfiltered and directly harmful to biological tissue. The Earth itself is made out of metals and organic components. It's got, all these, metals filled, going in veins throughout the crust, and we've got this oil and natural gas and other stones and rocks, basically organic components and metals within the Earth. It absorbs the energy from the sun, transmutes it, and, we have this energy coming out of the Earth, which manifests in all sorts of fertile, wonderful, benevolent ways as plants and everything. Basically, the Earth, its own energy is that which we naturally resonate with. This is our planet, right? And so this is basically taking, in a micro sense, the energy from, say, a cell phone tower or a substation, electrical substation, or a cell phone in your pocket. Pretty much anything, like your refrigerator and microwave, and it structures that energy the same way that the Earth does for the energy for the sun. So instead of, being radiated by all of these gadgets around you, your Wi-Fi and everything, you've got your Orgonite basically structuring that energy, making it so that it's not frying your nuts, frying your ovaries, or whatever it may be. And basically, it works on human wavelengths too. Thoughts, the human brain is electric, right? So every thought, every emotion, every action is producing an equivalent magnetic field. And, it's a beautiful thing when you bring Orgonite into an environment where people are just aggressive and hostile and kind of off the wall. It's very hard to explain, but it totally changes the dynamic of the interactions that happen in that space. And personally, I consider myself an Orgone warrior. I don't just make little pretty pieces to have around the house because I'm new age, whatever, like going to festivals, which is cool. I love that people make beautiful pieces, and I love that it becomes that art form and that cultural experience. But for me, I'm a field sergeant, all right? I'm out there busting the cell phone towers and the substations and basically anything across, a whole city. That's what I'm going for, all right? The pretty pieces are cool, but for me, I'm making lots of pieces at minimal cost so that I can transform the energy of a large space. And Reno, before I left, in the years that I came back there after college, I busted that whole friggin' town. So pretty much any cell phone tower you see in Reno, you'd have to look for a long, long time to find them because I hit them really well, but pretty much every cell phone tower in Reno has a piece of Mango Thunder Slices Orgonite right next to it. Public service announcement. And there's a few cloudbusters, which are on some of the mountaintops, which is basically a giant piece of Orgonite that's made in a bucket with these metal rods coming out, and those, can transform huge, like within 50 miles around it. And, it sounds all kind of crazy for those who aren't, into this sort of world. What is he talking about? Energy? Is this scientific? Okay, well, ignoring that larger question for just a moment, that's going to be a separate video. Wilhelm Reich was the guy who coined the term Orgone back in the 50s and 60s. He was a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist, and he was noticing that a lot of the mental issues that people were having were also correlated with physical impairments of energy. And eventually he by studying the nature of biological energy, he developed what's called an Orgone accumulator, which is basically a box that people kind of sat in for a while, and it was layered with fiberglass and aluminum. So again, you've got that metallic organic layering component. So energy, this biological, Orgone energy would accumulate in the box, and people would be healed of all these chronic diseases and, neuroses, psychological problems, physical problems. They'd just basically vanish by sitting in this box, and Wilhelm Reich, they eventually discredited him and he died in prison in 1957. It's a terrible shame, but now his work has gone on to kind of a phoenix-like resurgence, and now there's, lots of Jedi out there like me. I don't know how many there are, but, I'm taking care of my own space, and that's all that really matters. So we're going to be making some Orgonite today, and that's a brief primer on what Orgonite is and what it's good for. And though you may not believe it just yet, it's the experience that really converts people, in my experience. And Space Panther didn't even really fully accept it until we went on a little vacation together and started busting some electrical substations, and she saw the sky open up above us like, disgusting gray, that sky when they just been spraying the sky like crazy, and that's another video that we'll get to. They spray the sky and it turns into this disgusting white haze, which if you'll notice in Reno, they'll spray the sky, but it eventually dissolves. That's because of the Orgonite. No problem, you can thank me later. But basically that's what I'm going to be doing here in LA, and we're going to be starting with 6 pieces today. So let's get started. This is a brief update on Orgonite by Mango Thunderslice. Thank you for watching.